Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. And today I'd like to take a look at this little gem, Among the Stars Revival. It is an expansion for Among the Stars, the base game from Artipia Games. But it also is a standalone two-player game that replaces the two-player rules that came in the base game. Did they do a good job replacing those two-player rules or not? Let's take a look at it and then we'll find out. So as we're setting up for a game of Among the Stars Revival for a two-player game, first thing you have to do is separate all of the basic cards into their own little piles. And then you're going to pick 10 that you're going to use in that particular game. And then you also have to separate them from the special locations that are denoted by an S right down here in the lower right-hand corner of the card. You would separate these, place them aside, separate these to their special stacks, and then choose 10. So I'm going to go with residential area, festival hall. I'm going to take that and shuffle it together with my special cards, and then I will discard 18 of them. And now I make 4 piles of 12 cards each to start the game. On your turn in Among the Stars Revival, you can basically do 3 actions. You have a choice of doing one of 3 actions. You can 1, build a location, 2, build a power reactor, or 3, discard one of the cards and then gain 3 credits. So that's the general gist of what you can do on each turn. Now, at the beginning of your turn, one person is chosen at random to be the active player. So we'll just say that I'm going to be the first active player here, and I have my main reactor with its 2 energy cubes here. Each player also then gets starts the game each round actually with 5 credits, and so put 5 credits here for me and 5 credits over here for my opponent. Now, the active player then takes the first set of cards for the first year and deals 6 face up in front of the players. Okay? And then the remaining 6 are put back down here face down. So, as the active player, I get to choose first from these cards. One thing to note, first of all, is that cards that have a white background down here in the area are immediately have an immediate effect. And then cards that have a yellow background at the bottom of the card here are game-ending effects. So these are points that will be accrued at the end of the game. These are points and effects that will be accrued immediately after purchasing it. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is pay 2 credits. That's the cost that I have to pay in order to do this. And I'm going to go ahead and pay 2 credits to the bank, take this, and now I need to build this adjacent to my reactor. My reactor is adjacent if it is orthogonally placed. Okay? If it is placed diagonally, it is not considered adjacent, so that is not a legal placement right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and place the UCAN in here next to my main reactor. This icon right here, the little energy cube, means that it needs an energy cube to be powered. So one of my energy cubes has to be placed on that immediately. And additionally, energy cards that need energy have to be placed no less than 2 spaces away from a main reactor that has the ability to power it. So keep that in mind as well. Now, this is an immediate effect, so I go ahead and look. I get 3 points plus 1 for each energy cube on a power reactor in my station. So I have 1 energy cube on my power reactor, so I get 3 plus 1. So I get 4 points. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that would be the end of my turn. It would be now my opponent's turn. So now we come to player 2's first turn, and we take the 5 cards that are left from the original, and we're going to look at what possibly they want to do. Now, one of the things that's new about this expansion, one of the modules, are these advisors here. And in order to gain the effect of this advisor, I would have to build a green location. If I want to gain the effect of this advisor, I would have to build a blue location. Well, that's kind of something I want to try out, this new ability here. So there aren't any blue locations out there, so he's out of the question, but there are a couple of green locations. So we're going to go ahead and build one of those. We're going to go ahead and build, since this one doesn't have a very good immediate effect right now, we're going to build the delegation office for 3. And we're going to go ahead and place that. We'll just place it right here next to it. It doesn't require any energy, so these 2 cubes are still available for some other card in the future. But having played that card gains me that advisor's ability. Now, whenever I gain the influence of an advisor, I automatically get 1 point. Now, I also go here, and it says choose one of the following. Get 1 credit, or put an energy on an empty power reactor that you control. Well, I don't do that, don't have that. And then remove a ship from your station. Now, this brings in the ship icon, the ship tokens. Now, these ship tokens can be placed on your space station either by yourself or by your opponent. And what happens is, whenever a ship is placed, a location cannot be built here. So it does have a drawback. It's a hindrance that it reduces the amount of spaces that you can build on. But there are some cards, some locations, that actually give you points for ships at the end of the game. So there's a give and go there. But since we don't have any ships currently on my location, I'm just going to go ahead and choose to get 1 credit. Now, I can choose to take this ability and use it, or I can forego this ability and take another victory point if I'd like to. But we need money right now, so we're going to go ahead and take that. That's the end of my turn. It goes back to player 1. Now, at the beginning of the active player's second turn, we take the deck of cards that we are playing this year through. We take 2 and we flip them over. So the person who is the active player always has first choice on what cards are going to be played. So since I have a red location started here, I'm going to go with that. We still don't have any blue locations out there, and I don't really want to play the green one to take that away, although it would give me a point. I'm going to go ahead and go with the supply depot. Now, this has an X in it in the credits cost, which means that you look down at the bottom and it says X is equal to the current year. Well, right now we are in year 1, so this card would cost me 1 credit. So I'm going to pay my 1 credit, add it to my space station, and it says it is +1 for each military or red location in my station. So it's 0 points, but I have 2 military locations in my station, so it's actually worth 2 points for me right now. So 1, 2, move that, and that is the end of my turn. It's now the second player's second turn, and we're going to we're going to go with one of these festival halls here because it has a pretty interesting end-game condition. It says here that it is 1 point at the end of the game, +2 for every empty space in your station with 4 adjacent locations. So this is one of those cards that you kind of have to start working on at the beginning of the game. So first year, I think this is a good time to start working on this card. So we paid our 2 credits, and we're going to place right here next to our main reactor. Now, it does have an energy cube icon on the card, so we do have to make sure that it is able to be powered. This is in-game scoring, so we don't have to worry about any bookkeeping right now. It's now the active player's turn again. On the active player's turn, we take 2 more cards and turn them face up. Now, this is the first blue location to come up now, which gives us the ability to do him. So I think we are going to do that. We're going to spend 2 and take an emergency station, place it, actually, you know what, we're going to place it out here. This is an in-game scoring, so nothing happens there. However, this guy is now under my influence, which gets me a point and allows me to use his ability at the end of my turn, which is where I'm at right now. It says put or remove a starship in the other player's station, put or remove a ship in your station. So it gives me the choice of doing one or the other. Of course, I don't want to necessarily hurt myself right now, so I'm going to take a starship and put it in dock on one of my opponent's stations. And now it is the second player's turn. On the active player's turn, we take the last 2 cards in the deck and flip them over so that they are now available for purchasing and building. We're going to go ahead and go with the recharging station. We're going to pay 5, take 2 back since it costs 3, and we're going to go here, place that here, and it gives me 4 points, but then it says put a ship adjacent to each of your power reactors. For each ship put, gain 1 additional point. So we'll take a ship, place it next to my power reactor. By the way, this needs to be placed here. And so that gives me 5 points. So I come over here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points is there. If you ever wanted to simply discard a card and then gain 3 coins, you would choose which card you're going to discard, and instead of playing it in your station, you just get rid of it and take $3 or 3 credits from the bank. If you wanted to build a power reactor, you would choose a card, discard it, and build the power reactor instead for a cost of 1. That would be placed here, and 2 cubes would be placed on it like such. Now, what would happen here is that the second player would then take their action at choosing one of these cards. I would then take another action choosing one of the 4 cards left, and then the second player would be able to choose one of the 3 cards left. Then I would be able to choose one of these, and then the other person would be able to choose this. And we would place, of course, all of those on our stations legally, of course, and so forth and so on. But then this would flip over. Player 2 would become the active player. Each player would also get 10 more credits for that next year to begin, and that would be added to whatever they had left over from the previous year, and the next year would be played out accordingly. They would have first choice with this, and it would go back and forth that way during the second year. And then we would, of course, play the second, third, and fourth years just as we played this first year. Now, at the end of the 4th year, after all of the cards have been either played or discarded or what have you, scoring would happen, and the players would get points for all of their delayed effects, the yellow backgrounds at the bottom of the cards, and then points would also be awarded for any power reactor that has no more cubes on it. In other words, you're efficiently using the power that is being generated by that reactor. You would get 1 point for each of those. You would also get 1 victory point for every 3 credits that you had left. So that would be an extra point there every 3 credit. And then the player that has the most victory points at the end of all of that calculating is the winner. Now, if you're going to play Among the Stars Revival with your base game, there are some rules changes that go in there. First of all, you would add all of the basic locations to your copy of Among the Stars, and then you would choose basically 20 basic locations, including all 4 copies of each location into your deck, and then you would take 8 special locations for each player. So in a 5-player game, you're talking about 40 special locations. In a 6-player game, you're talking about 48 special locations, and adding them to the basic locations that you've started. You shuffle them all together, and you use all of them for the game. If you're using conflicts, instead of adding them to the second year, you add them at the beginning of the 3rd year. In a 5-player game, you add 10 of the 12, and then in a 6-player game, you add all 12. Additionally, if you're using the ambassadors, you would have 4 of them available instead of 3 for the players to invite in that game. Otherwise, you play Among the Stars the exact same way as you would normally do, with these little changes in setup. Now, you are also able to use the advisors and these little guys here. Instead of placing them in the middle of the table between the 2 players, you would basically place one in between each of the players, and everybody would have the ability to influence 2 advisors during the course of the game. So these guys are also able to be used, as well as the ships Among the Stars Revival. Again, it is an expansion to the base game, but it can also be a standalone 2-player game. And in my estimation, personally, since I don't even own the base game, I would be using this more as a 2-player game than anything else. The different modules that come in it, I really like the advisors. It gives a little bit of a difference in playability each time you bring out the game, and controlling those advisors, or rather using those advisors, can really give you a leg up over your competition. The ships that you can have docked at your space station can really hamper, but at the end it can really help with some points, as long as you're getting the right locations built into your space station. Overall, I think it is a solid 2-player game. I think this is for them to come out with this, it is a home run, a knockout of the park, because it fires well on both of those sides of the engine. If you just want a good solid 2-player version of Among the Stars, here's your Huckleberry. But if you're looking to expand your game and make it 5 to 6 players, not just 4, again, this is right in that wheelhouse. I think that there are a lot of good things about this, and there aren't very many, if any, bad things. So a great expansion for Among the Stars, a great standalone 2-player version of Among the Stars. Go out and check it out. See you on the flip side, folks.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.